I've been in this shop about 3 years already. This is the first time that I've had a fly infestation. There's like 8 of these little bastards flying around me right now. I don't know what the shit. I mean, it's like 45 to 50 degrees out here. Die, fuckers. We're making a 5-point cross, or if you want to summon the Dark Lord, a pentagram cross. Just like any project, I start off with milling the lumber. Got to get it into the proportions that I want. And it's just a whole bunch of table saw work. It's just as exciting as the sanding process, and oh boy, do I love it. Look at my eyes. They're rolling. Rolling. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and get to the building part of it. People always ask me what the angles are on the crosses when I build them. Honestly, I have no clue. I know that a lot of people need like directions when they want to build stuff or plans. I would love to be able to give you those plans. I just don't know how to make the plans because everything I do is kind of on the fly, just like all these motherfuckers. I actually have a template that I use for the St. Andrew's cross now where I can cut it to dimension, drop it in this pattern, and then it helps me mark for the half laps and stuff. But I mean, that's a whole other thing. So the way that like the first several crosses I built was I did this technique. I pretty much just laid the pieces together and then just kind of found the angle. I actually had Miss Penguin come down and see what she felt comfortable with, kind of clamped it into shape and made my marks and then cut out my half laps. So I use that same technique here with pentagram cross as you're about to see. Ended up having this little guy visit for about an hour or so. Sweet little boy, but just showed up. We gave him some food and water. He hung out and then he went about his merry way. So again, with finding the angles, a trick that actually a commenter on my St. Andrew's cross video had made this comment. The best way to find the angle for the legs, once you have it mocked up, take a piece of 4x4 and it can help you, get the lines just like this, and then it helps you set your miter saw to get to the correct angles that you want. And yeah, neato mosquito. In the original St. Andrew's cross video, I used a router to make the half lap joint because that was basically what I had at the time. And it was quite the pain in the ass, but I have evolved and improved with time. So now I use a circular saw to get a nice clean cut on where the half laps will meet on the sides. Then I kerf the shit out of it to break it up and get it easy. Then I come in with a router, clean it up all nice and pretty like, sand it to clean it. Things snap together oh so perfectly. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. After doing all that, getting it lined up and perfect and cut and shaped and everything to size, I went to stand it up and realized I done fucked up. So whenever you do your angle, when you do that 4x4 block thing to get the angles on the bottom of the feet, you might want to raise that up just about 3 to 4 inches, because when you cut the block, it drops it down. Duh. So I had to remake the whole thing. I'm learning just like the rest of you are.
Silicone flogger!
Silicone floggers made out of body-safe platinum-cured silicone. They can be found on our Etsy page at Penguinafterdark.com or our social media sites. Penguin After Dark and their affiliates are responsible for your good times.
So now that we have the A-frame built, we need the crossbar that goes across it. So I use a chalk line to help find center when I have it standing up, drop it down, and that helps me find the line that I'm going to need. That also helps me establish where all my half laps are going to have to go, because trying to measure out where everything is would be, it'd be a pain in the ass. And so what I've also been doing is, once I get these pieces made, I'm actually screwing them into place for right now. It will be collapsible, but I keep everything screwed together till the very end, and then I will go back in and drill all my holes for the carriage bolts and everything to put it all together. So after doing these half lap joints, it goes back together quite nicely, I might add. So the next part is going to be making, so we have the A-frame, we have the crossbar, and now we need the two uprights. These are just what I'm calling all the components. If you haven't realized by now, this entire build is a shit ton of half lap joints. Lots and lots of them. I put up one of the uprights, make all my markings, make all my half lap joints, put it into place, then I put up the other upright, make all my markings, make all the half laps, snap it into place. And now that I'm routing it, I'm noticing that I didn't get footage of making the bolt holes for the carriage bolts, but it's just drilling holes. It's drilling holes. And then after I did all that, I wanted to time and see how long it took to put this bad boy together. And this is how long it took. For the kickstands, I didn't want to do what I normally do with the St. Andrew's cross. I build this kind of coffin with the kickstand that it can all be kind of separated like that. So I ended up using these gate hinges that could be separated and use those because I could get the angle that I wanted, and then you can slide them off when it's time to put everything up. I ended up having to route channels and grooves so that the hinges had enough room, or the two hinge components had enough room to meet up and mate. Giggity. And I decided to go with a double kickstand setup instead of just a single because I wanted it to have more support and stability. And then one thing I wanted is, if someone's on the cross and they start thrashing around and they pull back and then they come forward, I didn't want the kickstands to fold in. So I made these little stop blocks that keeps the kickstand in the position they need to be in to keep everybody safe. And then it's on to paint. Red paint job. Dope. And now it's time for assembly. Yay! So I went ahead and labeled every half flap joint because I want this thing to be real simple for the customer to put together. It's basically laid out in order where you have the first joints that go together, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, and then the kickstands are labeled A and B. That way you know what side of what to get it put down on. After everything's been labeled and assembled, it's time to add the tie-off points. Went ahead and added them all over the place. That way there's several options to tie. And there we have the St. Andrew. And there we have a pentagram cross or 5-point star, or whatever you want to call it. And this is how much space it takes up once it's been collapsed. Just rolled up in a moving blanket. The customer who had commissioned this had also gotten a St. Andrew's cross some time ago. So this is actually part of a matching set. And gotta say, they look really good together. Yeah. I'd like to thank y'all for sticking around to the end. It means a lot. I've got some other videos coming. There's one that's going to be a Victor's chair, and one that's a crazy set of stirrups that should be interesting, but all that's coming down. I've already got all the footage and build. I just need to set aside the time to do the narration. Be sure to do all the shit. Find us on all the things, and yada yada yada. Gabba gabba gabba. Till next time. Peace.